Hot girlies don't just grow their glutes, they grow their brain. Surprisingly, summer is actually the one season of the year where I feel like I grow the most intellectually, which probably says a lot about the traditional education system. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with all the secrets on how to develop into a well-read, introspective, intelligent young woman. I simply do not know what is a better backdrop for this video than this academic institution that I attend. First little secret for you guys is to build your own world of what you're curious about through carefully curating what you consume. Okay, there are definitely people watching me. Technology can literally be your greatest liability or greatest asset. I don't think anyone would say that I'm well-spoken or eloquent or well-read if I didn't have access to all the podcasts I listened to during lockdown about business and self-development. And I first got into self-development because one of my favorite beauty and lifestyle influencers was reading a book that I thought looked cool. Specifically on social media, my favorite podcasts to listen to are Diary of a CEO. That one is very business merged with self-help. I also really like Gen Z Advice by Riley Rojas. She talks about her experience working at Facebook and also just personal development things. Also Manifestatory DeSimone, the Carrot podcast, which interviews other content creators, and the Huberman Lab podcast, which talks about health from like a neurology perspective. I would give book recommendations, but here's the thing. The types of books that you should read are very dependent on what your current stage in life is and what your current struggles are. So I think it's much better to do some self-reflection on where do I want to grow and then search up books on that topic rather than just reading the books that I recommend, because some of the books I read are super weird and niche and may not be useful to what you're currently looking for. I just don't feel like being basic and being like, read Atomic Habits, because you already know you should read Atomic Habits. The next thing I must put you guys on is language learning and just exploring new cultures. I know this may seem like it's not an immediate necessity to go learn a new language. I think especially as teenagers and young women, it's important to think about investing in your future self. Right now, you may not have that many opportunities to travel to foreign countries, but in a couple years, you could do a study abroad program or be put in a scenario that you might not have expected. It takes persistence and time to learn a language. So for instance, I've studied Brazilian, Portuguese, Spanish, and Mandarin, and I'm not always actively speaking Portuguese, for instance, but when I meet someone who is Brazilian, I can pull out my Portuguese, and it's so useful for building new connections. The way I think about my personal development as a young woman is kind of like I'm preparing to be the president of the United States, like not to that serious extent. I try to understand different cultures like a president in training would, who needs to sort out diplomatic affairs with different countries. It is generally a good thing to be culturally aware of different cultures. And this summer, I'm going to be taking Spanish lessons on Lingoda. And thank you so much, Lingoda, for partnering with me on this video. I am so excited. I had my first Lingoda class recently, and it was amazing. Lingoda offers English, German, French, and Spanish classes in group settings and also one-on-one classes. And the group classes are amazing, guys. Everyone is encouraged to speak, and it was so fun to meet like-minded language learners. I actually quit learning languages in school for a year because I wanted to take my own ownership over it. I wanted to have my own goals. Because the truth is, there are many different approaches to language learning. I really love that Lingoda addresses multiple goals. They have language learning classes that are specifically about talking about your work. For instance, the first class I did was talking about what you do for work and your work experience. So my Spanish class that I'm taking is a group class. Ooh, the objective of this class is to be able to talk about our professional working experience in Spanish. To be honest, I'm a little nervous because I'm nervous that I set my level too high. This seems doable. It's been a really long time since I read Spanish, but I still remember how to read everything. Estoy bien, ¿y tú? Estoy estudiante de penúltimo año en la escuela secundaria. But they also have classes where you can talk about animals or learn numbers so they can fit a variety of goals. And Lingoda is actually offering an amazing opportunity for you guys, specifically students that have a lot more time this summer. Lingoda runs a language sprint. The language sprint is a 2-month challenge where you take language classes either every other day, which is the regular sprint challenge, or the super sprint challenge involves taking lessons every day. And if you follow through on all your lessons, you either get a 50% refund off your classes if you did the regular sprint, which is classes every other day, or 100% of your money back if you follow through with the super sprint challenge, which is a language lesson every day. You can use my code AnnieLong to get $25 off of your language lesson pack. Start a passion project. I know this is so like cliche and I sound like a college counselor, but here's my biggest advice with passion projects. Make a scaled down version of your passion project. I feel like when a lot of people think about a passion project, they're like, oh, I need to start this nonprofit that runs like for the rest of my life. But the thing is, when you set the requirements so high for what your nonprofit or passion project needs to be, it's just not going to be as sustainable. Once summer break ends and you go back to school, you probably wasted time finding the colors and fonts for your brand and your nonprofit, and then you may get bogged down with schoolwork and not be able to take actual action and make impact. So I would first start like, what is the bare minimum that I could do like in like 10 weeks that would make a big impact? You just want to make sure that if you create a passion project, you do have something to show for it. And passion projects are such a great opportunity to build skills. For instance, if I want to learn HTML and CSS, I would recommend taking a project-based course, like building a personal website and building your own personal website as you learn the languages, so you actually have a project that's born out of it. I'm going to supply you with some general project ideas. So if you're into content creation, business entrepreneurship, you could code a personal website or code a website for a local small business. Let's say you're interested in law. You could research and write a paper on a legal issue of interest. You could start a blog or podcasts where you discuss current legal events, controversies. If you're into medicine, you could develop a proposal for a community health initiative. I'm gonna go to the Brazilian bakery. Let's practice some of my Portuguese. Oi, tudo bem? Eu me chamo Annie. Eu estou praticando. Before I go into the bakery, eu vou praticar meu português. Quero cinco pães de queijo. Por favor. Obrigada. Tchau. Boa noite. Do I say boa noite if it's like 6 p.m.? Progress over perfection. Eu vou go inside. Oi, tudo bem? Tudo bem. 5 pães de queijo, por favor. Yeah, do you guys want to say hi? Hey guys, I'm at my favorite bakery.
Oi.
Tudo bem?
I saw your video and I was like, that's the bakery.
Que legal! Oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy that the cashier watched my videos. But oh my gosh, the pão de queijo is like warm. My last tip to having your smart girl summer is to get into like-minded community. I recently started working as a national ambassador for a student-run nonprofit, SparkTank, and we actually have a Discord, so you guys should totally join so you can be around like-minded entrepreneurial students. Guys, I cannot stress the importance of communal productivity. Focusing on your goals should not isolate you from people more, but honestly just help you connect more. Definitely throughout the summer, I think there is an association that if you're focusing on yourself and your goals, you're gonna be lonely all summer, stuck in your room. It does not need to be like that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. All my socials are here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to check out Lingoda. Definitely try out the language sprint. I will be doing it, so let's do it together.